On today's show, we are free balling. We got no agenda. It's just going to be straight free balling from the top. We have no clue what each other is bringing to the show, which means neither will you. It's going to be an awesome show. These are always the best. So without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome to episode of Sitting Courtside. Today is Friday, March 8th. Kyle, take it away.
We're
We're going with it. Let's go with it.
All right, we got to promote it right off the top before we get into our other things. We have our March Madness bracket challenge back up on ESPN. It is, if you go to ESPN, just search for groups. It is Sitting Courtside. It is completely free. And since none of you decided to listen to the last podcast, we were going to promote it until you guys do listen. Sitting Courtside brackets on ESPN, completely free. The winner will get a prize pack. But I think this might be a first time ever, Jordan, where we have actually had breaking news right before the podcast. And so there's going to be a decent amount of people that are listening to this on Friday morning when this comes out, and there'll be breaking news to them.
All right.
But
well, it's breaking news to me because I've not been paying attention. I've been watching YouTube previous to this, so I don't know what's happening.
So for the last about hour and a half, my phone has just been going off about this, and it's been kind of fun to be involved. But so today, Mike Woodson was announced. This isn't the breaking news, but he was going to be coming back as IU's head coach. So that puts all of like the Brad Stevens, the Steve Alfords, the everything to rest for IU.
Okay.
However, 90 minutes before the show, number 15 recruit Liam McNeely, their 5-star recruit from Texas that committed last year, the highest recruit they've had since Zeller, or not since Zeller, since Trey Jackson Davis.
Yep.
Decommits from IU. He is no longer going to IU. He's opening back up it's probably going to be either Kansas, Texas, a Big 12 school. They're the highest ranked teams that are on his thing. But Liam McNeely will no longer be going to IU just literally hours after they announced Mike Woodson will be back. And I know we have a lot of IU listeners. So since you didn't know this going into this, what is your first take on this?
That's so weird though, because Woodson you would think was the reason he had committed to go there. So why would you decommit after the news? That's weird. Why?
I know.
Why? The only thing I can think of is like it's just like coincidental. Like he's like, Indiana stinks. I mean, they had like a mega recruit that came in this year that's not really done anything. Even Trace, there's really not a recruit that they've had that's, even when they get the big names, that's done well by any means or met expectations.
Yeah, like you're saying, the M'Baku guy, he's actually been their biggest recruit the last 3 years, but he was the recruit that went to Duke or was going to go to Duke, switched because Philip Kowski going back. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's going to end up going to Kansas. They've had a pretty bad year for their standards. Yes, they're still top 15. Yes. But like you already knew that when you committed to IU that you were going to a lesser school. So I really am confused on why he's like anti them now.
If that's true, if he goes to Kansas almost has no excuse to not be good next year either, because he's a 5-star, but they also are getting the other 5-star from Indiana, Flory Badunga or Badunga, whatever you say his name, who's this like supposedly this athletic freak. I watched him in person. I wasn't impressed, but either way, it doesn't matter. They would be loaded at Kansas. Loaded.
Yeah. And if you go on like the message boards, if you go on Twitter, everybody in IU is freaking out because they already didn't want Woodson back. But they're like, okay, whatever, we'll do this one more year. They got the good recruit. We'll see how it goes. And now it looks like Kansas and Texas are the number 1 and 2 teams to get him. And the other two top teams in his recruiting class were TCU and Oklahoma. So apparently, obviously, he's from Texas. So Big 12 is his area. Yeah. It's just so odd that it's just like what changed about. I mean, he chose Woodson for a reason, you would think, but I really don't understand.
The only thing I can think of is maybe he was recruited by like an assistant and was going for the assistant. And then because Woodson's staying, Woodson did the classic NFL move where he's like, I'm going to like throw someone else under the bus to save myself. And maybe it was that guy or gal. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I had to start with that one though,
Yeah.
just because of how much everything's buzzing. But since we're already on recruits, I will just say Duke also got another 5-star recruit for
Of
next
course
year,
they did.
number 3 overall. They now have 4 5-star recruits and a 4-star recruit next year, and a potential to have 3 of their
Mhm.
5 or 3 of their 6 best players returning next year. So as IU
Nice.
continues to not be able to find their stride, I think Duke's doing all right despite losing their Hall of Fame coach.
Nice. How many national titles have you guys won in the last 10 years?
1.
One. Correct. Okay. Just making sure.
One more than I use one in my entire life existence.
Hey, I'm not coming from the IU
Yeah.
perspective here. I'm just saying, maybe we're free balling here. The most disappointing team in college basketball history, like up there with like the UNLV teams and the Fab Five of the early '90s, was the Zion team of Duke that like got bounced in what, the Sweet 16,
Elite Eight to
Elite
Michigan
Eight. Doesn't
State.
matter. Might as well
Yeah.
be the same thing. Like that team. That team was so full of talent. Like to not even make the championship game is still bonkers.
Yeah. Whatever. Free ball in this one. Okay.
All right. All right. Gal said, Worryometer?
Yeah. Yes.
0.
0. All right. Do you want to go with the next thing, or do you want me to try another item here?
You go one more and then I'll go with mine.
Okay, so mine's kind of like a recap / game. Do you want to play
Okay,
a
I can't
game?
wait. Yeah, let's play a
Okay.
game.
So we didn't have a
Let's play a
ton.
game.
We didn't have a ton to recap. Obviously, why we didn't have a ton prepped for this one.
Yeah.
But I will go through a few things. We're gonna do a little buy or sell here. Not
Okay.
on
Oh my
Hermione.
God.
We're doing a
I
buy or
love this.
sell.
I love
So
this.
we're gonna go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We only have 6 games to go through, so it should go pretty quickly. I'm gonna propose a buy or sell question on a result that happened, and we'll see what you think. Monday,
Yep.
though. Baylor rallies from behind to take down Texas 93-85. But my buy or sell question is buy or sell. Baylor is the biggest threat to knock off Houston in the Big 12. They are 8-3 in their last 11 games with wins over Texas, Kansas, TCU, Oklahoma State, or Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and Iowa State.
I'm gonna sell.
You're going to sell?
I'm gonna sell. The biggest threat to bouncing Houston out of the Big 12 is Houston.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I
They
like
will
that. I
only
actually
bounce
like that
themselves.
call.
And quite frankly, it's going to be against a team like TCU, who they probably should own by like 25, and just like something weird happens. TCU is a pretty efficient offense. They would be prepared for a Baylor team. So I'm going to sell that one.
Yep. And for those who didn't watch on Wednesday night, UCF gave Houston everything they could want in that game. Like they were on the ropes for a lot of that game. So that's a good call.
Well, and also, if you were also on the betting side of that and took Houston, you lost by half point. So congratulations.
Yeah, I know. All right, we'll move to Tuesday because the only other game on Monday was Duke that really mattered, and I already know the result of that buy or sell question. But we'll go to Tuesday. Purdue battles through a tough game to win at Illinois, 77-71. Braden Smith, buy or sell. Braden Smith, not Zach Edey, is the key for Purdue to make their first Final Four since 1980.
That's a good question. I'm gonna. I'll buy it. I'll buy it because I think not so much on the offensive end, on the defensive end, he's gonna have to show up. But I almost would say like, who's more important, Zach Edey or the team? It's like the surrounding cast is way more important than him at this point. Like someone in the tournament is gonna find a way, or there's going to be an instance where Edey gets into foul trouble, and someone else is gonna have to step up.
Yeah.
So I will buy for Smith because their biggest thing has always been guard play. So like he's have to show up on defense, but
No, he did. He played not great all game, and then he just really stepped up at the end. Him and Lawyer both did, so that's where that question.
Here's
came
what I'll
from.
actually say. I'm going to re-alter your question.
Yep.
What I actually think they need is consistent 3-point play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is actually what they need because they are wildly inconsistent from the 3-point line.
And they kind of go out of like some games they'll just not shoot threes. Like this game, they only shot 16. They had 9. Like they should have shot more because it was constant going into Edey, and he'd kick it out, and they would just wait to pass it back into him.
See, I think though that's what I talked about last episode, where they're so much better, I think, than everyone else in the Big Ten. They almost like treat every game as a practice.
Yeah.
Like what are we going to work on today to see what works and doesn't work?
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's move it to later on Tuesday where, man, this team is just so inconsistent. Florida absolutely crushes
Womps.
Alabama. Yeah, 105-87. Sell or buy or sell. Alabama actually is more of a primetime upset candidate compared to a couple episodes we said they had a chance to make a Final Four. An upset candidate in round one than making a tournament run because they absolutely suck on defense, allowing 94 points per game in their last 8 games.
I'm gonna buy that 100% because I also think they're gonna probably get a top 5 seed, like
Definitely.
1 through 5 seed. We'll call it probably closer to the 4 or 5 line, and that's where you're gonna find your New Mexicos of the world, who have the talent, have the discipline, have played in close games. Alabama just, again, we mentioned it. They could make a run to the finals, but it's gonna have to be very matchup based because they don't rebound the basketball well on defense. They don't play defense. Well, you're already losing on basically 2/5 of a game, we'll call it at that point. Like, you can't rebound and you can't play defense. What can you do? Because I'll tell you what they also can't do. They can't shoot from the free throw line, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for
They
damn sure.
stink.
Yeah, I completely agree. And another stat to throw on it, they are 7-8 away from home. Like, they are not good away from home. And guess what? They're not going to be playing at home anymore the rest of the season. So
Let's just put them in Nebraska in the first round, see who wins.
that would be fun. I would enjoy that.
Play in Vegas, you know? Like,
Yeah. All right, the last one for Tuesday, I have UNLV beats San Diego State to grab their 12th Mountain West win, 62-58. Buy or sell, UNLV does enough in the next week and a half to get into the NCAA tournament.
They won't do enough to get in the NCAA tournament, but I don't also think that I also think that they should already be in. They've had enough big wins at this point. They need to be. And did they sweep San Diego State?
Pulling it up right now. Give me just a second.
I think they swept them.
They lost on the road at San Diego State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they must have been another big team at home or on the road.
They swept New Mexico.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know me though. They're a sneaky team. San Diego State. If you'd have been like, "Am I buying, selling San Diego State?" I'm selling the shit out of them. Yeah, they are not trustworthy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, UNLV, for those that have not been watching, they were at one point 9-9. They're 19-10 now, so that they're hot as shit right now. They just did themselves no favors early in the season because they lost against Southern at home. They lost against Florida State on a neutral site, against LMU on a neutral site. So really what's bringing them down is their non-conference schedule. They do have Nevada next game at Nevada. That'd be a huge win for them. Then obviously if they could make a run in the Mountain West, I think they need 3 more wins the rest of the season to lock up their automatic bid.
If this was like football, I'll tell you what, they'd be in because that end of the season record don't lie.
All right, Wednesday, Marquette gets absolutely not dominated, but never really led in the game against UConn as they play another game without Kolek. Buy or sell, you cannot bet Marquette to win a single game the rest of the season without Kolek.
I'm not going to say that because I think they'll still get like a 3 seed in the Big East tournament and play shitty Georgetown or something. But I'll say without him, they ain't winning an opening round game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen them listed as a 3 seed now. So they're dropping out of the 2 seed, which I think they could beat a 15 without him. 14, I think they can win. If they drop to a 4 seed,
I don't know. That's where Indiana State boys might be, and that would not be a good matchup for them.
And they have an at Xavier matchup coming up this Saturday, which KenPom has them as a 2-point favorite. And right now, if they lose on Saturday and Seton Hall wins, they'll get the 4 seed, and that means they'll probably play the 5 seed in that after the bye. So they'll have to play Providence without Kolek, most likely. So,
oh, how the mighty have fallen.
All right, the last buy or sell Wednesday was Iowa State rallies to go back-to-back undefeated seasons at home, winning 68-63 in a comeback victory over BYU. Is Iowa State buy or sell a Final Four contender?
Sell. I think they're going to be the hottest team everyone picks that doesn't make it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I can't buy their offense. I just can't buy it.
But again, they're a perfect example of like I keep calling it the Virginia method. Like, some years it's going to work. 85% of the time it's not.
I completely agree. All right. Over to you,
Uh,
host
all
Jordan.
right. You're going to love these, buddy. We got ourselves some listener questions.
Okay. Okay.
Got some
Here we go.
questions from the listeners. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
These are going to be I picked out what, I think 7 or 8 of them. 7, I think. Some are for you, some are for me, some are for both of us.
Okay.
All right, this one's from Sally. Hey, Mingo Zero and Blind Kyle. Wasn't
Okay.
very nice, Sally.
Yeah. Come on, son.
Kyle, why do you love Duke so much, and who is your favorite Duke player of all time?
Those are definitely very easy questions for me. I've been asked that very many times. But growing up, since my dad was a coach, he obviously always catered to the coaching, like his favorite coach. He got to meet Coach K when I was very young. So that kind of got me in on college basketball. So I always root for Duke. I've always been a Duke fan. And by far my favorite Duke player, despite never winning a national title. And that part will always stink as being a Duke fan and being a huge fan of him. But JJ Redick is by far my favorite Duke player.
Do you think he's like the greatest player of all time to ever win a college title?
I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, there's better like guys that went on in the pros that didn't win it because they
No,
didn't.
I'm talking college. Let's do, like I think it's fair to say that Tim Tebow is a top 3 college player of all time, but his NFL career was garbage.
Yeah.
Right?
I would at least say in the era that JJ Redick played in college basketball, he was like the most either hater or popular. He had so much like on him, kind of like Tebow in college football, where
Yeah.
it was like everybody watched him either to root against him, root for him, and just the fact that he even never got to a Final Four is just
Yeah.
outrageous.
So this is I think a perfect comparison. I actually think he was Johnny Football before Johnny Football for college basketball.
Yeah,
Like I
I mean,
remember being a kid and liking college basketball, but JJ Redick was like one of the very first players I remember like knowing who he was.
yeah. And I'll never forget this Saturday after like a rec basketball game. It was number 2 Duke on a neutral site against number 1 Texas, and he went off for like 42 points, and it was just like
Yeah,
an epic game.
that's why he kind of made the 3 cool,
Yeah, he did.
honestly. All righty. Inspired a whole generation, honestly. And here we are. All right. The next one is from Jim. Hey, Jim. Hey, guys. Curious of your top 3 teams, who you think is most at risk of an early exit from the tourney? So I'm guessing he's referring to Houston, Purdue, Connecticut.
You
All
want
right.
to take this one first?
Yep. This is actually going to be a super hot take. I actually think the one most at risk is Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
So I think that Purdue had to lick their wounds from the last 2 years. So I think they're going to come in fresh, ready to go. Houston has a lot of senior leadership, and that team definitely wants to prove something. And they've had some success, obviously, but I feel like they're the number 1 team in the country, but they're like almost under the radar number 1 team.
Mm-hmm.
All the
Agreed.
pressure's on UConn. I think everyone, the defending champ, obviously, everyone's bringing their best game. But also, I think when you look at them, we've seen it in the last week and a half, and it's been there the whole time. They've just been talented enough to figure it out. They're somewhat inconsistent, really, with their offensive efficiency and how they defend the 3. Like,
Yep.
given the right matchup, I think they might fall early. Not when I say early, it may be Sweet 16, which is crazy if you're the number 1 overall seed or even A1 seed. So that's my thoughts.
So I completely agree. And I also, just to like preface this question, like these 3 teams are just head and shoulders above everybody right now. They have 11 or more quad 1 wins. Nobody else in the nation has more than 8. Like neither of these 3 teams have lost on a neutral site or home. So like these 3 teams aren't losing in the first round. I know that Purdue's had their struggles. Houston doesn't have a great offense. I don't think any of these teams are losing till at least the second week of the tournament.
Yep.
I will take Houston over UConn here just because recently I've seen Houston actually kind of come back to the pack a little bit. Their last 5 games they've played, all are single-digit games. Close game against Cincinnati at home, a close game at Oklahoma, close game at UCF. I don't think any of these teams are losing to a minimum Sweet 16. I'd be shocked even in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, I would take Houston.
I actually think it would be beneficial for Houston to lose in the Big 12 tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And get some extra rest. They have nothing to gain and everything
Yeah.
to lose, because that's going to be a tough tournament when you get into the semifinals and the finals.
And was it Jim? Which one?
Jim.
Well, Jim, these 3 teams are locked up for their 1 seeds no matter what. So like these teams really have nothing to play for in the next week.
that's also a good point.
Mhm.
All right. Next one is from Hot Donna. I feel confident there, Donna. Hey, Hunkalicious Jordan and Kyle Squints. That wasn't
Okay.
very nice.
That's not nice either.
What team is your favorite to watch, excluding your favorite team?
Ooh, favorite team. Well, until the last 2 weeks, I would have said Alabama. But I think I'll still go with Kentucky as my favorite team to watch. That's not Duke
Yeah,
because
that was a really good one.
their two freshmen are just so fun. Like Reed is just amazing. I saw he's going to go top 10 in the NBA. That's crazy seeing he was a sixth man on Kentucky going into there. But their freshmen and their size and how they run up and down the court, I don't really care if they win or lose most of the games now. So just watching them in general, that's why I choose them.
Yeah. Kentucky was on, I think, ahead of my list, but I'll pick a different one. I actually, for whatever reason, and it may just be more on like when they play and when I'm watching, I do really enjoy watching Baylor play. Now,
Mhm.
they're a little bit sporadic, but I think part of the reason why I enjoy watching them so much is I still haven't figured them out. Like,
Yeah.
are they legitimately like, can they make a run or are they trash? And I should just pick them to lose early. But
Yeah.
I do enjoy Baylor.
Yeah.
All right, next one is from Johnny Boy 5. Hey studs, curious what conference you think will fare the best in the tourney this year.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say he's asking like who will have the most teams, we'll call it in like the Sweet 16, Elite 8, etc.
Okay. You want to take this one first? Or you want me to take it first?
I'll
It's a
go
tough
first.
one.
I don't really
Yeah.
this is tough. I'm gonna say because it's always some weird obscure conference. I'm gonna say the Big 12.
Yeah.
Just because I think that they're going to have probably the largest number of top end teams that will get in at the right seed mark to make a run. I think we all can agree the Big East is probably the best conference overall. The most competitive conference has been the Mountain West, but they won't get nearly as many teams. So I'll go Big 12.
All right, and I'll take the one that you said you thought everyone thinks is the best. I'll take the Big East, and I'm saying this because I do think Tyler Kolek will get back by the NCAA tournament, and I can see Marquette and UConn. If Tyler Kolek's back, I expect Tyler or UConn and Marquette to at least both make the Elite Eight, and then I think Creighton with McDermott likely to leave after the season, they'll kind of be like up for this tournament. So I could
Yeah.
see actually all three of those teams making an Elite Eight. So based on just going the furthest, if you get 3 out of the 8 teams in the Elite Eight, I think that makes you the best conference. So I'll take the Big East.
You say that now I'm thinking. I think it's reasonable to assume that if you think these teams, you think that they have a run to a Final Four potentially. Houston, Kansas, Baylor, Iowa State. I know we just said we get bounced early, but people will have them in there. Yeah, I mean those, and then obviously I have my BYU future that,
and your guns up too. So.
and I'm guns up, which I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if they can make a run to the Elite Eight, maybe Sweet 16, but
Yeah.
all right. Next one is from B-Ball Guy 99. Hey Loud Jordan and Kyle McGiggles. All right. Really loving the nicknames today. What team do you all hate the most that is not your team's rival? I think we can both agree on one, Kyle.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're going to say it at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Virginia.
Nevada.
Nevada.
Yeah.
That's an easy one too for you, I guess.
Yes. Just because we talked about it, so I thought you might be going that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yes, I definitely hate Virginia too, but my least favorite team that's not UNC obviously is IU, just because I've always hated IU growing up around everybody. But I've even explained this to somebody at work today, just how much I hate Steve Alford. If you haven't listened to our podcast in the past, you should already know that I hate Steve Alford. He's going to get in the tournament for his first time in 5 years this year with Nevada. Yet he's going to turn that into getting like a Louisville job or some big job somewhere else. I just really dislike him. I always root against him, and he always actually fails in the first round of the tournament, so it always works out well. But
it's pretty consistent.
It would go. IU is my least favorite team. That's not UNC, and Steve Alford's my least favorite coach. That's not.
Steve Alford turned the New Mexico like Sweet 16, I think, years ago into UCLA, and then was promptly fired like 3 years later.
And he didn't even get. He's never been to a Sweet 16 besides for at UCLA when he had 5 professional players on his team. So
ridiculous. Okay, all right,
so
2 more here. This one is from This one's from Emily B. Says, "Hey guys, what is your go-to snack for games?" The answer is obvious. It's Orville Redenbacher popcorn. All the ultimate
That's
butter.
true.
Let's
That's
go.
true. Yes, that is true. Yes, I mean that's the right answer. There's
That's
nowhere
it.
else to
If you're not,
go.
you're
So,
getting popcorn. You're going 4-bagger every game.
yeah,
A whole game, you do 12 bags of popcorn, and you don't need to eat dinner. It's wonderful.
yeah, yeah. It's the perfect way to get through March Madness.
All right. Speaking of food, last question here. This one's from Buffalo Bob. Hey, Kyle Stats and the Quitter. Will you all be doing another eating challenge this year, and will Jordan actually finish it?
And the quitter. I love it. I love it.
That was a really good joke, Buffalo
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah, it was. That was a
I'm
good
thinking
one.
he's referencing the Buffalo Wings.
Yeah,
I will say a challenge of some type is TBD.
yeah.
I will admit that instead of buffalo wings and or a chip that we later found out after we already purchased it could kill you, maybe we'll do something simple like, I don't know, like pizza rolls,
Yeah.
or I don't know, something that
Something
can
that
be
also
done.
doesn't like ruin the evening too.
Yes, that was the other problem we ran into was, oh, hey, you could eat these wings, but then also feel miserable for the next 6 hours. You could also eat this chip, but also be throwing up in the next 2
Yeah.
hours.
And you have to leave tomorrow anyway.
Yeah,
So.
and it's going to be a long drive.
Yeah.
So,
What was the challenge last year? It was it
you
was
had
it
Kansas and I had Kansas State,
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think is what it, oh no, what was it? Was that
Yeah,
was that
yeah,
part
it
of the
was who
bet? Yeah.
yeah, it was whoever finished higher in the regular season and then whoever went further in the
Yeah.
tournament. Yeah.
And then, well, no, it was whoever went farther, whoever did better in the regular season. And then we were
The
gonna
Big
do
12
double or
tournament.
nothing for the tournament, but I didn't do it because I was a weenie. Because Kansas State did go farther that year.
Well,
But
we also like added points for like the Big 12 tournament as
yeah,
well.
that's true.
Yeah.
And then I think it was I had to eat. Was it 100 wings? I think it was 100 wings. Or no, it was.
Yeah.
It's
Beers and
either
wings.
it's either 100 wings or 10 pounds of wings. I forget what we called it. And then you could take off
5 for
four,
every beer.
5 wings for every beer. Yeah. So I think I ended up having 50 wings there and like 10 beers, and I ended up doing like 35 wings and 6 beers, and was like, I think I'm gonna throw up.
Those set in our fridge for like a week. We're like, we got to get rid of these.
Yeah, I will admit I made a rookie mistake. I tried something new for my wings
Yeah.
on the day I had to try a wing challenge.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
Yeah.
You learn your lesson. You learn your
Yeah.
lesson. But yeah, TBD, Buffalo Bob, TBD.
And TBD on if we'll do like videos or anything for the Final Four since we will be together as well. We'll figure
Yeah,
that
we will
out.
probably. I will say this: we will probably do our live reactions. We've done that, I think, every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the limits of what we will provide you via
Yeah.
video. We
Yeah,
will
'cause
probably be at very loud locations that will provide you no context.
yeah, I was going to say we will not be at home. We won't be able to post anywhere.
But yeah,
Oh
all good
shit.
stuff. Alrighty, that's what I had, Kyle.
All right, should we give some picks then for the weekend? I feel like we have a little bit more time to give some picks.
I'm always
We'll
in for
just
the picks.
We'll just kind of do some rapid fire here since a
Yeah.
lot of games aren't matched up because of tournaments. Let's
Yep.
just go ahead and go down Friday. We don't need to
Really,
give a whole
really
lot of
quickly. I need to break this out. I was gonna break it out last week or last episode. You wouldn't let me.
Okay.
The road to 1,000 plays
Oh, okay.
has been accomplished.
Oh, what are you at now?
1,024 plays. We are 529, 476, and 19. Who has 19 pushes? What in the world?
Yeah,
That is 52.6% for anyone keeping track at home.
that is an insane amount of picks. That is awesome. I'm at 600 and what is that? 600.
That's still insane. You have over 600 picks.
Yeah. So I'm 365, 294, and 2. Lost a game last night because a dunk literally happened right as the buzzer occurred.
Yeah, I seen your tweet.
Yeah, and that was
Also,
stupid. But
this just goes back to it. You have about half, maybe a little over half of this number of picks that I have, but still only on pace for 4 pushes.
yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
And I'm hitting at 55.3% right
Nice
now.
job, Kyle. Carrying the pod.
All right, let's move it on to Friday where we have a couple of decent games. We got spreads, so we'll talk about the spreads here because neither of them are that close pick-em-wise, but they're fun games to watch. VCU at Dayton. Right now, Dayton has fallen back a little bit. They're projected as a 9 seed. They are at home -8.5, over under 138.5. Who do you like in this big matchup in the A10?
Yeah, VCU beat them last time they played, correct?
Correct.
Yep, I'll take VCU plus 8.5. The number's a little high or a little low. Sorry, a little low. Right now, I think people are going to drive this number down farther though, so I'll avoid the over under.
Yeah, I think I've been kind of getting in the over unders recently, and I just know how slow Dayton plays. Let me
Yeah.
see how slow VCU plays. They're
I feel like
92nd.
VCU's been doing a little bit. If it were at VCU, I would hammer this under.
Yeah, so their pace is 287 as well. So I'm going to take the under 138.5. KenPom has it coming in at 136. So get on it now before it goes down a point. So I'll take the under in that matchup.
Yeah, by the way, everything I said made no sense. I was like, I'm not touching it, but the number's going to go down. What a dunce.
That's awesome. All right, a huge matchup for seeding here in the Mountain West. Absolutely
Yes.
huge matchup. Boise State 21-9, 12-5 in the Mountain West. At number 21, San Diego State 22-8, 11-6 in the Mountain West. San Diego State currently a 6.5-point favorite, over under 137.5. Let me pull up San Diego State real quick.
I'll just say, yep, go.
All right. So Boise State beat them by 1 at home. I think San Diego State coming off a loss against UNLV. They know they need to, if they pick up this win, they will hop over Boise State. I will actually take San Diego State minus the 6.5.
Both teams just lost. Both are hungry. Both need that seed. Just take Boise State plus 6.5.
Okay, there we
Easy
go.
Easy money.
All right, we're no chance we're going to get through all the Saturday games, so I'm just going to pick out the good ones here.
I love it.
There are so many big games. We'll start with 2:30 p.m. An absolutely must win for this home team. Number 10, Creighton at Villanova. Villanova is considered one of the last 4 teams out. 17-3, 10-9 in the Big East. Right now, KenPom has this. Give me just a second. As a Creighton 1-point win here. Does Villanova get the win they need, or does Creighton knock them off?
Okay, so Villanova just lost what I consider to be the must-need game.
It's Seton Hall.
Creighton, though, just had a big win. Maybe their head's a little big. I think this is a classic letdown spot before the tournament. I will take Villanova because they need it more.
Yep, this is their must-win. Like, you can't go – like, if they lose this game, they basically have to win 2 games in the tournament. That's a big ask to do in the Big East. So I think they actually get this win. It'll kind of solidify them as one of those, like, first 4 in, and I think the committee will like Villanova. So, all right. Ooh. Last chance for a team to take down Houston in the regular season. Number 14, Kansas at Houston. Any chance you get the Jayhawks to knock them off here at the end of the season?
0 chance. I watched the entire game against Kansas State. They honestly shouldn't have won that game. Yeah. Like they I swear wear cinder blocks on defense.
They really do. I completely agree.
I will take Houston.
Yes, I will take Houston as well. I mean, Houston Kansas whooped Houston at home by 13. That was the last time Houston lost. They have revenge on their man. They're going to knock off Kansas here.
Yep. Also, if you remember that game, Kansas shot like 72% from the field in the first half.
Yeah. This game won't be a good spread, so we don't have to pick it. But Kentucky at Tennessee, that'll be a fun one to watch on Saturday.
Yeah. You'll hammer the over in that game?
Yeah, I like it. All right, number 11, Baylor. This is a big one for the tournament seeds because they're trying to battle for Iowa State for the 2nd seed in the Big 12. Number 11, Baylor at Texas Tech. Just guns up, get it done. They kind of been skidding here a little bit at the end of the season.
Why are you even asking? You know what it is.
You're going with them?
Guns up all day, every day. Let's go. However, I do need to just preface this very quickly. I'm going to do guns up responsibly. Okay. I will say, though, from a Power 5 perspective, they do rank as one of the worst teams when it comes to giving up runs.
Yeah.
And Baylor is a team of runs. So
that's true.
They're needing to play solid defense, limit the runs, both figuratively and literally, because you may shit your pants while you're watching this game. I'll take guns up, though.
I actually think, even though I really like Baylor, and we talked about how much we like Baylor at the beginning of the podcast, Texas Tech really good at home, 14-2. Baylor's been really bad away from home, just 6-7 away from home, 4-4 on the road. I do think this is kind of a limp into the Big 12 for tournament for Baylor, so I actually like Texas Tech here and kind of a huge spot for them to improve their seed.
On this note, I've mentioned this vaguely, I think, in one of our podcasts. Just imagine the butterfly effect if McCullough stays at Texas Tech.
I know, right?
Kansas would be dog shit right
They would be
now.
terrible.
And
Yep.
Texas Tech would probably be a top 10 team.
Yep.
Like, just think about that. Like, he basically traded just like colored jerseys. That's all he did.
Basically, that's it. All right, I'll excuse myself from this one, but
Okay.
6:30 Saturday night
Yeah.
on my birthday, March 9th,
Happy
6:30,
birthday.
number 7, North Carolina at Duke. Who do you like here?
Well, I think I already told you that Duke was going to split this title with him. So I'm on Duke, but also because it is your birthday, you got that little extra juju to you. So we'll also continue to take Duke, double down. Duke wins by double digits.
Oh, okay. I love that.
There you go. There you
go. It's an early birthday present there. I like that. All right. We got to go to a late game here. Well, all right. So Providence currently on the next 4 out of the bracketology. Number 2, UConn is going into town. Any chance there's a letdown for UConn as they head into Providence?
I don't think so. I think because they've if you're going to remain a top 3 team, you've already had a little bit of a letdown the last week and a half. You don't just continuously have those.
Yeah,
they want to be strong. They're coached by Dan Hurley, who is maybe the most intense coach in the country.
Yeah,
and he ain't letting them have a letdown.
And he is now the odds-on favorite to win Coach of the Year, so he's just rolling through it right now. He's just gonna win this one. All right, so let's move it to Sunday.
Can we also say really quickly that's malarkey. If we're being for real,
he won the national title and was Coach of the Year.
Like, if we're being for real, it needs to be the head coach for South Florida.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say that when you said favorite team to watch, but I thought there might be another question about like your favorite like small team.
Yeah,
South Florida has been so fun to watch the last 2 months. It's been amazing.
Like that, no one picked that team at all. They're a quality team. They're a top 25 team. That coach, that's a coach of the year. I don't even know his name. That's how dog shit they were at the start of the year from a perception.
Abdul Rahim. I can't tell you the first name of him.
Whoa, Abdul Rahim.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I'm going to ride them in all my brackets too far. Like I'm going to take them too far.
100% you will. 100%.
All right. Last game I just wanted to highlight was probably the last game of the season. Illinois at Iowa. Iowa is one of the last 4 teams, or first 4 teams out. Illinois obviously just coming out the pre-loss. Iowa needs this win last home game. Who do you like here?
I'd like the over. Just take that. Both these teams are worthless. Don't even watch them. Just hit the over on your app, boop, and just don't watch a game.
So I'm just going to be sad that the regular season's over. So I wanted like the most dramatic finish to the season. So I'll take Iowa to win this game just so we have chaos going into the conference tournament. So that's what I'm rooting for there.
All right, 6 overtimes.
Yes, that would be perfect.
All right, perfect.
Mess up the Oscars. People don't know what to watch at that point.
That would, yep. Okay, make it 7.
Yeah.
I want to completely ruin their night.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening to us all season long. Obviously, we'll be here for the conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament. We'll join our bracket group, Sitting Courtside Brackets. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Kyle Cliffy. He's at Mingo Made One, and we'll catch you early next week.
Love you guys.